21-2, and our great mate Simon Hill joins us out of Oz. Simon, welcome back after you've been at the Asia Cup, mate.
Yeah, how are you, Marty? Good to be with you.
Very well, thank you. Well, was that a penalty or not?
Not for me.
No.
And to be honest, I think Macarthur probably a bit stiff that they didn't get one of their own prior to that. So I've listened to Miller Stojowski's post-game press conference and probably wisely he said, look, I've been advised by my club not to say anything publicly, but we'll be taking it up with the authorities. So they're clearly not happy, the Bulls, but, that's the way the game goes. Again, this harks back to a point that I've been saying probably since Jesus was a lad that, you can have all the technology in the world, VAR, goal line technology, whatever you want. At the end of the day, it's still humans who are interpreting what they're watching. And to me, that was a nonsense. But anyway, that's football.
Exactly it. And look, and you take some because the next game there's going to be a decision the other way. And as you say, Macarthur had one which looked pretty similar, and I thought that was really soft, and I was glad it wasn't given. And I just thought that there was no way that whoever it was, I can't remember his name was ever going to score from that position. And I kind of think that's got to be taken into account. He couldn't even cross the ball. He'd lost control of it. But anyway, Costa Barbarouses rolls it the right way, scores a second goal, and the Knicks hang on. And Simon, you're looking at that points table, played 18, there's 8 games to go, 1-10, drawn 6, lost 2, and a 5-point lead. It's theirs to lose now, right?
Pretty well.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, they've been the story of the season, and full credit to Giancarlo Italiano and all these players and stuff. I mean, on paper, you look at them, not just 1 to 11, but even the depth or lack of, really, to the squad. And they shouldn't be anywhere near the top of the table, in my opinion, but they are, because they are, more than the sum of their parts. And, they've got a great team ethos. They work for each other. I mean, yesterday they had 4 key outs, and then they lose Alex Rufer 5 minutes before kickoff, and they just go, okay, let's get on with it. And they dig in on a difficult pitch against tough opposition. And, maybe they got a little bit of luck yesterday, but I think over the course of the journey, maybe they've earned that.
Yeah. Well, that's what happens, isn't it?
So good on them.
You could say that Liverpool got a little bit of luck yesterday because Man City drawing against Chelsea, against a Chelsea side that came up to your place and actually played like a Chelsea side that has spent €1 billion where you'd expect them to. So, but look, when you're sitting there after 18 games, Simon, and my point is that it's no fluke that you top after 18 games. After 3 or 4 games, you can say, oh, okay, whatever. But after 18 games, when you've only lost 2, that says that you deserve to be there.
Absolutely. It is no fluke. Thanks for bringing up Man City, by the way. But
had to be.
Look, you look at the key players that contribute, and every player is playing their part, obviously. But Costa Barbarouses has really stepped up to the plate this season. 10 goals. Particularly of late in the absence of Oscar Zavada, who is almost back to full fitness. So he'll be a key addition. No Bozidar Kraev yesterday, no Alex Rufer, no Tim Payne. They are experienced pros and leaders for that Wellington Phoenix team. And yet some of the kids that came in, Isaac Hughes, Finn Conchi, Kelly Heald's had a very good season out on the left-hand side of defence. It's an amazing story. And, personally, I hope they go on and win the Premiership because I think they deserve to do it. And it will be great for New Zealand football, particularly with, the Auckland franchise about to join the competition next year, to give that rivalry a real rev up right from the start. And, of course, they are the only club currently in the competition that is yet to win a trophy. So it's probably time they did. And, they'll never have a better chance than this season, that's for sure.
Simon Hill is with us, of course, the A-League. Of course, you recognise that voice if you are a fan of. The last 8 games, 4 wins, 4 draws, haven't lost in 2024. And I think that's what he's done, hasn't he, Chiefy, if I can call him that, Giancarlo, that He's just stiffened this side up. And I remember talking to him earlier in the season, and it was just, it was almost about a not wanting to lose philosophy. Well, that's obviously standing the team in really good stead. Because one of the things that was impressive yesterday was the way they defended, I thought. And I was counting 9, 10 players behind the ball at times. You've got to do that when you're away from home and down on strength, as they were.
Yeah. Sometimes you've got to dig in, and sometimes it's not been pretty. I remember the game early on in the season against Melbourne Victory where they didn't have a single shot the entire 90 minutes and came away with a 1-1 draw somehow. And they might have even won it. I think there was a penalty decision that was overturned because of an offside. So, sometimes you can call it luck, but also you earn that luck by being resilient. And they're very solid defensively. Alex Paulson, who's having an outstanding season between the posts, so much so that, one of the very few pre-season signings that was brought in, Jack Duncan, has hardly played a game. They've not gone big in the transfer market. They've relied on a mix of good experienced pros like Kriev, like Zavada, like David Ball, like Barbarouses, like Scott Wootton, with the best of the academy that is coming through. And clearly there's a lot of talent coming through that system. So, it's a good model. And, for all of us, and I include myself in this, who thought once Ufuk Talay left the club, you thought, that could be a big problem because he did such a good job there. But goodness me, Chiefy's done an amazing job so far. And he's a super guy as well, very, very personable. And I hope for his sake, as much as anybody else, that they go on and lift the Premier's plate.
Couple more questions. We'll let you go. Thank you so much for your time, as always, Simon. Simon, what surprises you about the top of the table? Take the Phoenix out of there. Central Coast, Macarthur, Melbourne Victory. I look at Melbourne Victory, 17 played. They've only lost 1, but they've only won 6. It's the most bizarre stat sheet, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And they've not won any of their last 6 matches. And I don't know if you saw Tony Popovich's post-game press conference or post-game interview on Network 10 Paramount Plus at the weekend following the goalless Melbourne derby. And he's clearly feeling it a bit. He was very, very tetchy in some of his responses. He's clearly very frustrated that his team is not able to get that elusive win that they haven't had for some time. By and large, it's been a much better season. I mean, they were awful last year, but there's something missing there at the moment. Obviously, Bruno Fornaroli's been away at the Asian Cup and was missing again at the weekend. He's a big provider of goals for them, but they can't just rely on him every single week, as good as he is. So there's a bit of sorting out to do at Victory, but they could yet come strong second half of the season. We're deep into the second half of the season now, but we've still got 10 games to go, so they can make a push, that's for sure.
And just on that pitch, good God, it was like watching 70s football from England, 80s football, wasn't it? I mean, you'd normally expect a bit of a carpet these days. It was dreadful. And also the lightning at the start. Look, last week it was because the other side didn't turn up with an away kit. This time, 61 minutes delayed by lightning. And Lachlan was showing me some Twitter footage, actually, of a guy playing in Indonesia who got struck by lightning the other day. So it's pretty bloody serious.
Look, we can't control the weather, but we can control the pitches that we play on. And this is a big bugbear of mine. I did the game yesterday between the Mariners and Western Sydney Wanderers. Now, 24 hours prior to that game, there were 2 games of rugby league on that surface. And that too was below standard. We see this across the league. Same on Saturday at Allianz Stadium. Sydney FC against Adelaide United. A Pink concert there last week. The New South Wales government has just announced that they're going to increase the number of concerts to 20 per year. And you can bet your bottom dollar they're not going to be playing those concerts in winter. So, we're going to have these pitches torn up on a regular basis. There is motocross taking place in Gosford and in Newcastle over the next few weeks. Goodness knows what those surfaces are going to look like. Look, I don't know what surface rugby league needs to play on, but I do know that most of the time in that game, the ball is off the floor. Yeah. In our code of football, you need a good surface. And if we're not being provided with them, I honestly think it's time we started withdrawing checks and saying, you know what, you don't want us at your stadiums, no problem. We'll go and play elsewhere. And to be honest, it will be a much better solution for the sport anyway. I think after 20 years of this competition, it's high time we had a proper stadium strategy because at the moment, it just ain't working.
The Asian Cup, mate, won by Qatar in the end. Now, of course, they qualified because, by virtue of the fact they were hosts at the last Football World Cup and didn't really do anything. Are they the best team in that confederation?
Well, I mean, in terms of the tournament, they were because they won it, and they've won back-to-back, so you can't really argue with it.
Can't deny it.
You've got to say that some of the bigger nations, and I include Australia in this, didn't really perform at the Asian Cup. I mean, I expected Japan to win this Asian Cup at a canter. You look at the talent that they've got in their squad. They could have fielded 2 teams and still beaten most the rest of the countries. But for whatever reason, they weren't able to deliver. The same with the Korea Republic, who were probably clear second favourites. Again, you look at Son Heung-min, Hwang Hee-chan, Lee Kang-in, Kim Min-jae. They're playing in the big leagues of Europe for some of the biggest clubs. But they struggled, and it shows that Asia is not easy. Australia were very disappointing. We've not quite got the same calibre of player as the ones I mentioned for the Korean Republic, but still the Socceroos were expected to do a little bit better, I think, in terms of their performances. So, Qatar obviously helped by being at home and having the crowds on their side, but they were worthy winners because they performed to their capabilities. And to be fair to them, they've got one player who, to me, is very, very special, and that is Akram Afif. He won the MVP award in the tournament, the Golden Boots. He was penalty taker, corner kick taker, captain, tossed the coin. He did everything. He was absolutely terrific. So, congratulations to them. That they deserved it. It was a super tournament, but just a bit frustrating that some of the bigger nations didn't quite perform to their best.
Devlin. You better believe it! The Platform.